people should live here. I feel like there's so many reasons that I can't even pick just one, because this is my city and I'm proud to be from here. I went to school here, I have family here, I've seen weddings, I've seen, so many good things about the city, job opportunities and so forth. I've had the opportunity to live other places. I've had the opportunity to live abroad in Ghana, West Africa, and even still, I still wanted to come home and give back to my city and just make it flourish even more, because it's not a negative place. Everywhere has its ups and downs, but I feel like the positivity of the 314 Show Me State, St. Louis, Missouri is shining bright.
This is the why I know where my city flow. If I ain't know it would've quit a long time ago. If I ain't know it would've quit a long time ago. So why am I city the way my city flow?
Come stop and take a trip down on my block, where you see hidden potential, young minds sharper than pencil, and ain't afraid to speak their mind if they got something against you. We standing with you, we tackle issues like civic pride. Hate will cease to exist, let's put our differences aside. From my side to your side, from Dutchtown to South Side, from Penrose to North Side, from Benton Park to Old North to West End to West Side. We blessed when we step out, we stand down, rise up, stand together, wise up.
This is Stitchcast Studio, produced by St. Louis Story Stitchers in St. Louis, Missouri.
It's a special edition of Stitchcast Studio called The Why of My City, and is funded by Missouri Humanities Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act. Funding for this grant is provided by the CARES Act and the National Endowment for the Humanities. They say who that, but you already knew that. That be them story stitches, story stitches, story stitches, story stitches, story stitches.
What's up, guys? They're on. Like, these are not real. I kid you not. Hot ass chicken.
Yeah, man, you've been out the loop, man.
Get that.
Hey everybody, it's Emira here. So glad that you all could tune in with us tonight for our album release party. And I got some really amazing people here with me. You all probably already know them. If not, you're going to get to know them in just a few moments. But this program is a special edition. The Why of My City is a Missouri Humanities Council Aid Relief and Economic Security Act. So, all the stuff with COVID and everything, and we just got a chance to really tap into these resources from the Missouri Humanities Coronavirus Aid. And this project, we wanted to kind of talk about the different parts of our city and why it is, how it is, and how we, as a people kind of interpret these things and how it shapes us and molds us, So the album that you're going to hear and that you're going to get to listen to, you're going to really be able to kind of understand where we're coming from with this conversation as we go through a few of the tracks from the album and just kind of talk to you all about, you know, where we were when we were writing the lyrics, or, you know, just even thinking about the song in its totality and different things like that. So I'm gonna quit talking and I'm gonna just go ahead and let us jump right into this conversation, and I hope you all enjoy. So the first song that we have is definitely one of my favorites. I remember when I first heard it, I was like, man, this is a great song, you know, and it was because too, you know, Banging the Night by KP, it was something that I heard from you that was kind of different for me, you know. I don't know, and it sounded like you, but it's just hard to explain. So I'm gonna just let you go ahead and kind of explain like where you were, like what inspired you to write that song. And if I'm not mistaken, did you create the beat yourself too?
No, I didn't create the beat, man. Shouts out to my man Integrity, man. First of all, word like to everybody that's watching, you know, all our viewers, anybody that's supporting the St. Louis Story Stitches since inception. You know, my name is KP. Want to introduce myself, one of the founding members and one of the driving forces behind this amazing artist collective that Stu Colangelo has actually led to actually be a substantial program, and I'm loving being a part of it. Just an honor to be here with y'all tonight. But Banging in the Night was just basically, you know, the viewpoint of a gentleman that came from the struggle and always being so near to the ambience of the inner city, which usually is gunfire and police sirens. And it kind of took its totality on, you know, the general hood mentality. It's like everybody suffered PTSD. And, you know, we removed the criminal stigma from, you know, gun violence and turned it into an actual mental health crisis, which it really is. And, you know, it was just basically paying homage to those that lost their lives due to gun violence, since bringing awareness to the urgency. I wanted it to be hard. You know, we were doing a whole bunch of like melancholy vibes and things that were really, you know, friendly sounding in my opinion, but you know, I wanted something that hit really hard. So Integrity gave me the right backdrop, and it was a hard topic. So I think, you know, that's why it hit the way it does. So I hope everybody that's listening in America can really embrace it and see it some positive, hard hitting boom bap brought to you by the Story Stitches. You know what I'm saying? Junk, you know what I'm saying? I wish I could just tell you see you later, but that's called taking it for granted, because we don't know.
Post-traumatic, schizophrenic, take a trip with panic. Close to static, click of bandits, came to flip the planet. They call them red-handed, 45, semi-auto. Death wishing on a mission like it's no tomorrow. He yellow tip the splits and follow, listen, pay attention. He bottled up with tension off the whip, your day was sentenced. Looking for repentance and redemption in this cold world of sad reality for urban boys and girls who can't run from the sound of the clock. Rather get shot, bodies get found on the block. Just hit the ground but they pop, shoot up for nothing, they wanna be down with the spot, boy. All my life, man, it's the same fight. I'm sick of things going bang in the night. Can't run from the sound of the clock, rather get shot, bodies get found on the block. Just hit the ground but they pop, shoot up for nothing, they wanna be down with the spot, boy. You know these bullets ain't got no names, right? Wish it was strange, bang in the night. Was he what's the impetus? Cause everybody present red rum on the injured list. How you play the judge, jury, bailiff, executioner? Yeah, got a problem with you messing the solution up. The pain and the poverty permeates the bloodstream. Full blown addicted to shooting like you a trigger fiend. What you mean, self-hating per usual? When if you see it differently, you're seeing it's delusional. The sound of the clock, rather get shot, bodies get found on the block. Just hit the ground but they pop, shoot up for nothing, they wanna be down with the spot, boy. All my life, I'm sick of things going bang in the night. Can't run from the sound of the clock, rather get shot, bodies get found on the block. Just hit the ground but they pop, shoot up for nothing, they wanna be down with the spot, boy. You know these bullets ain't got no names, right? Wish it was strange hearing bang in the night. Put the gun down, wasn't just another slogan. It's a way of life in the memory of the chosen. Mental health counseling, cause families are broken. And what can people do with all these pent up emotions? A whole lot of rage is the why of my city, bro. If you ain't living next to the ones who quit to spit 50, bro. Yesterday people lost some things, today get hit pretty close to home. Tomorrow all this might be gone. Can't run from the sound of the clock, rather get shot, bodies get found on the block. Just hit the ground but they pop, shoot up for nothing, they wanna be down with the spot, boy. All my life, block. Just hit the ground but they pop. Shoot up for nothing, they wanna be down with the spot. Boys, you know these bullets ain't got no names, right? Wish it was strange, hearing bang in the night. We got the blood of the young on our hands. And if we stay divided, then you know we won't stand. I wish it was sweet, but on me it's plain scary. These cowards keep killing, I'm seeing babies get buried. It's necessary that you stay aware of your survival. Pick up an occupation, try to interrupt the cycle. Cause if we let depression and anxiety prevail, that means we fail the plan, so we planning to fail. From the sound of the clock, rise to get shot, bodies get round on the block. Just hit the ground but they pop, shoot up for nothing, they wanna be down with the spot. Boys, all my life, man, it's the same fight. I'm sick of things going bang in the night. Can't run from the sound of the clock, rise to get shot, bodies get round on the block. Just hit the ground but they pop, shoot up for nothing, they wanna be down with the spot. Boy, you know these bullets ain't got no names, right? Wish it was strange hearing bang in the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That song is definitely like I said, one of my favorites, including with another track that you all can go and listen to on the album called What's Your Why? And that was also produced by Integrity and it has KP on there as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got some heat on there, y'all. So make sure y'all go and listen to that. Play it 10 times if you can, all right? So also the next song that we want to talk about has Mr. KP on there as well. And I think this just kind of talks to, you know, how legendary you are, you know, in your craft and in your writing. And then you also feature Brandon on there too, which is a very outstanding poet and lyricist. So I'll kind of let y'all speak on that and just kind of give us, you know, the memo. What's it about? And urge you all to write this track and, you know, make it how it is.
Well, you know, I wanted to break up the monotony of the flow. You know, a lot of our tracks is kind of like slow, and I wanted more of an upbeat kind of hip hop 90s feel to it. So, you know what I'm saying? I kind of borrowed the backdrop to that A Tribe Called Quest classic song, Can I Kick It? And it was basically like a play on the words when I said sneaker attack, because it's like a sneak attack because I'm hitting you with a new idea and a new concept, but it's sneaker attack because, you know, materialism, which led, you know, in the cities back when I grew up, tennis shoes kind of marked where you were your status quo, you know, where you sat in society. So, you know, it was like a double play on those words and just showing lyricism. And I had to get my young writer B on the track because, you know what I'm saying, he had those bars. And I just thought this was something that, you know, a poet like himself could actually complement what I was trying to do with the music. It was provided by Greatness Production, my man Dadishi. Big shout out to Bull out there that did the track. And it really was like, to me, an East Coast vibe, but it's for the world, you know what I'm saying? Because what we were talking about, I think, has kind of affected any hood in America.
Most definitely. I appreciate you asking me to be on it too. You know, I enjoy it every time I work with KP. To be honest with you, when he brought the song to me, he already had a hook, already had his verses or whatnot. So it was clear what he was trying to do with the song or where the song was going. I like to work like that, you know, because all you got to do is write. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is write. You don't have to decide where it's going and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Most of the groundwork is already laid for you, and I love that. Can I Kick It? It took me back. You know, I wasn't even listening to music when that song came out, but as a, you know, student of the game or whatnot, I like to reach back to see what came before I did or whatnot. And I love that old school flow that it had, and he was real bar heavy with it, you know, and it forced me to have to challenge myself, you know what I'm saying, to try to meet him where he was at as best as I could, you know. So it was just a pleasure. Appreciate you. It was definitely just a all around pleasure. It's a fun song that also made me feel like I grew as an artist. You know what I'm saying? So it was just an all around pleasure.
Yeah, man. I tell anybody that loves some real hip hop and real hard beats and good hip hop lyrics, listen to that, man. It's quality, baby.
Definitely.
I agree. And a real quick question, Brandon, and I know it's a little verse you had in there about you wearing Skechers. I just wanted to know, if that was a true statement.
Wake up at 6 in the morning, we still mourning over shots that rang out yesterday. Mama say until we get the bread to get a better place, we gotta pray for better days. You just a step away from somebody taking your breath away. That was her warning, like every morning. Open the closet, reach for the Jordans, oh yeah, we can't afford them, so I strap up the sketches and let her finish her lecture. This the first day of school, can't believe I gotta wear this. I'm out the door, at the bus stop, I see a couple dudes I knew was out before. It don't look like they out no more. They in the game, they trying to get paid. They might drop out of 10th grade. By the time the bus came, they paid 10 ways. They out here chasing money. They got the shoes plus the bread plus the tool case. Somebody try and take it from them. They look at me and they like, what are those? Oh, now these my other clothes. The force is still at home. I rock them later on. Can I kick it? It's the sneak attack.
No, if that was a true statement.
Nah, I've never worn a pair of Skechers in my life. Not that I ain't never owned no Jordans either. But and at this point, it's just because I'm just not willing to pay $200 for some shoes. But no, I've never owned no Skechers in my life. I just saw it as a story or whatnot. You know, as somebody that's, you know, KP came at the song. It's kind of, you know, like he said, shoes kind of indicate your status or whatnot. You know, so I was trying to think about how can I fit into this and not do exactly what he doing. You know what I'm saying?
It was dope the way you did it, B. You know what I mean?
Appreciate you.
It was in our mission statement at St. Louis Story Stitches how we vowed to have intergenerational relationship building. And that song was exemplary of that concept, you know, because back in the 80s when the drug game was prevalent in the inner cities, you know, that's really what kind of ushered in the sneaker game for us, you know, being teenagers and impressionable minds, you know, back then. And then to show that you come around decades later and still can be able to jump right into the groove. And
right.
And it's a sad thing that the same problems that we harped about 30, 40 years ago are still problems we're harping about today. So that's a testament to that.
Wow, and you know what? That's probably the one lens that I haven't looked at the song through. So yo, go listen to the song. Go listen to the song. Go listen to it. And this is definitely one of those songs that I feel like you can listen to a couple times and pick up on something that you didn't catch on the first
kick it, it's the sneak attack. Can I kick it? It's the sneak attack. Can I kick it? It's the sneak attack. Got soul in your soul. One of those. Kick back. Can I kick it? It's the sneak attack. Can I kick it? It's the sneak attack. Can I kick it? It's the sneak attack. Got soul in your soul. One of those. Kick back.
or whatnot. Sure. So that's all I can say. But to answer your question, no, I ain't never wore no Skechers.
I wore Pro Wings.
Heard. Hey. Most of I done did airwalks and stuff, but no, never no Skechers. I ain't never scratched up the Velcro and all that.
No buddies.
Cool. I just wanted to know. I was like, dang, Brandon was able to get jiggy with the Skechers. All right.
He was about to clown me. She was waiting to clown me. That's what she was gonna do.
Not on air.
We got sneak attack.
Exactly. Yeah. So make sure y'all go listen to that song. Like KP said, if you really like, hip hop, that old school boom bap, this definitely has that feel in it. I definitely like the song, and I had got that too when you said you did a play on words from Quest. I sure was like, I was like, dang, I think I heard this song before, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's what's up, yeah. So yeah, I love that mug too.
Much respect.
So next up, we have actually a spoken word piece, and it's one of the many, I believe, that we have on this album. And I think that's another thing I like about this album. It's really dynamic. and it really shows the diversity within the Story Stitchers organization, And so this poem that we're going to be talking about is called Different. So I'll kind of go into my part a little bit since that's kind of how it started. So they asked me to write a poem. Well, when I say they, I mean, Miss Susan and the rest of the Story Stitchers fam asked me to write a poem, I believe, because we were doing a play. I can't remember exactly if that's the reason why, but long story short, we wanted something about gun violence. And at this time, it was like perfect for me because I had a friend who felt as if he needed to have a gun in order to protect himself. And I know that is a reality for a lot of young men and women here still today in St. Louis. And I think I wrote that poem probably in 2017. So they wanted me to write the poem. And so I really kind of based that poem off of that relationship right there, and just wanted to kind of show the world, like, this is what goes on, and sometimes as a friend, you don't really understand why your friend does what they do, so I was kind of giving them my perspective, like why you shouldn't do this, or how this harms not only you but the people around you as well, and I kind of wanted to just give them that perspective. And then Brandon came along and joined in the Story Stitchers, and Miss Susan had a great idea, and it was like, I think we should have him write a second part to that. And I was like, whoa, that's gonna be crazy,
The answer verse.
Yeah. And so he wrote back to it, and Brandon, I'll kind of let you explain your part.
Got you. So this was probably one of the first assignments that I got coming into Story Stitchers or whatnot, writing the response piece or whatnot, and really emotional, and artistic integrity means something to me. So I wanted to write from an emotional place, you know what I'm saying? Or when you touch on some heavy stuff, so I wanted to add a opposite perspective that doesn't necessarily glorify the bad choices that people make when they in bad situations, but makes people aware that I don't exactly relish having to carry a gun everywhere I go. I'm saying? I'm like this isn't enjoyable for me. So I just feel like I'm too deep in it to step out. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much how it went. I think when I wrote the first draft, it was a little bit of a time crunch too. So when I wrote it, I wasn't for sure if it embodied what I wanted it to embody. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until after doing it a few times with you and then on stage and seeing people's reaction that I felt like, okay, I think it does what I wanted it to do or whatnot. But like I said, yours was already, just like with KP's song, yours was already kind of heavy, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't taken away from it. You know what I'm saying? That was the biggest concern. I don't want to take away from it. I'd rather,
No, I definitely think you added value to that piece.
Appreciate you.
And I think this piece was one of the ones that definitely drew people in. And every time it just makes them kind of feel, man, because it's so detail oriented as well. And it definitely is telling a story, and people's brains connects to that. And I'll let Mr. Bobby talk about that too a little bit later when we get to his piece. How just storytelling in general just really connects with people and just takes you there. So I think that's what really makes this piece special to me as well.
And word around town is you're killing now. Not like with the newest J's or with puns and punchlines and telling me guns and caution tape. But I'm still trying to remember what happened to you not joining a gang, because here you are again behind another cell. And then you tell me I killed him because he was trying to take my cells. And see, there I knew you'd never be the same. You had some type of beast inside of you that couldn't be tamed. So I decided to stay in my lane. I wanted no part of your games. No Bonnie, no Clyde. I just wanted to owe you back. But we couldn't see eye to eye.
Because I don't think you understand. The world doesn't welcome with open arms, only open hands. Perception is not always reality. You see the world through a broken lens, and if I see the world as broken, that's because broken is what it is now. Maybe I shouldn't have joined the game. But either way, this game is to the death. I'm looking over my shoulders for enemies. If I don't, those memories of me are all you have left. You think it's bad that the new me compared to the old me seems worse? Because I look at me all the time and I promise you I've seen worse. This is not a movie. There's no rehearsed scene for the rehearsed scene. That's not how the scene works. You know what? I think it's worse than me killing the game. The game killing me first, but put the guns down, right? We're just having fun. And so let's say I put them away and then I'm unprotected. And even when playing, mama always said you could never be too safe, so sure. Sometimes I miss the old me, but the old me barely knows me. The good, that young, I'd rather live slowly. If only you could show me why you miss the old me. I've grown up, I've slowed down. Can't you see that this an old me? I'm in too deep.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So next, we're gonna go to a more upbeat song, I would think, on the album, as far as like messages. And that's Who's Ready. And we wrote that one in 2018. And it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it's getting up there now. And we have Sean on here, who is the main voice in that song. So I kind of let you talk about it for a little bit, Sean, and like what the song meant to you and the whole process of making it. How was that for you?
Yeah, of course. So the song is called Who's Ready, and it's really a call for action. It's a call for action for the community, because we dealt with so much like gun violence and just like our community tearing like apart. There's been like multiple like deaths within like various communities, like Michael Brown for one. And we just wanted to make like a piece that really sticks out to the community where we could build as one. So I wanted to make it like something simple, something easy, something that people can catch on. Like, we're ready for the gun violence to stop. That's one of the lines. And it's something that just needs to be said, because I believe that we could grow together once our community learns the mind. It's becoming like gun violence is becoming something that people, it's just kind of normal, and like it's a normal thing that happens every day. And that mindset, that's crazy, because it's been happening so much. And we just want to show like the community that we just need to put the gun down, pick up a book, and just love one another in the community. So I do love that song a lot. And yeah, it definitely was awesome, like creating with different people on that. Like, you guys had some fire verses, you guys know who you guys are, but like, you guys really brought justice to the piece like no other. Like, it was really fun creating that, and like getting to see like everyone's like talents like come together. So, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and I also want to shout out to Britt Baker for coming in and helping, because I believe that was around the time when the stuff happened with the mass shooting with the Parkland kids, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And we were just kind of tired of it, like all the gun violence, because it's like, well, we see it here now, people going crazy everywhere else too, and it's like hitting hard. And I believe that year too that summer was one of the hardest summers for me, because I had lost like 4 friends back to back to gun violence. So that project really it was another project that came at like a really good time for me, because music has always, writing just in general has always been one of those ways where I've been able to cope with what's happening in my life. So, that song really to the creative process all the way down from making the beat. Like I don't even think we knew that song was going to turn into what it is. I think together, and then we had Integrity there with us to like make sure that it all got laid in smoothly, and Brandon, man, started the song off so smoothly. Let's just go ahead and let you talk about that real quick.
I appreciate that. This is gonna get repetitive. I didn't realize how often this happens, but most of the beat, the hook, a lot of the song was done by I heard it. I think Michaela was laying her verse the same day that I came in to listen to it for the first time or whatnot. And Sean, I'm not just saying this because you heard. The first time I heard it, the first thing I thought was, yo, they crazy talented. Like, this is ridiculous. Like I hadn't heard anything like that before, And it had almost kind of like a Caribbean feel to it too, a little bit different and good. And this is the part that I said was probably going to be repetitive. I liked what I heard a lot. So again, the concern became, let me make sure that I attack this in a way that I'm adding to it versus taking away from it. As far as the beat goes, I think that's probably why it has a little bit of a Caribbean feel. I think Teg had me put some like Caribbean sounding keys on it or whatnot, just to beef it up a little bit. And shout out to Annalise too, who's not in this group right now, but I thought of some vocals to put behind my verse, and I'm not no singer or nothing like that. And she was the only singer that was there at the time. I think Michaela and them had just left. And while I was trying to show her what I wanted to do, I'm drawing all shapes on the paper, triangles and lines and stuff to try to demonstrate what I'm hearing. And she's trying to read it. She reading stuff that looked like I drew like kindergarten steps and all type of stuff, trying to figure out what it is that I'm saying. But and when we recorded it, it wasn't the best, but Teg, that dope engineering, you know what I'm saying, put that sauce on there that made it sound closer to how it sounded in my head. But it was already fire before I touched it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was just about trying to add to it versus taking away from it. Also, y'all told me it was only gonna be 8-bar verses. And I heard people dropping 16s, and I'm like, look, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I can add another 8 bars. Like it's all good. It'll just serve as like an intro, you know what I'm saying, to stir up to the song, and I think it worked out well.
I think that song was a strong song, man. One of the strongest I heard the guys come with, and it's a straight anthem. So if you don't like nothing but a feel-good message, a song that hits hard, I would definitely invest an anthem for 2021 if you ask me.
Hey, that's what's up.
All right, let's get it. All right, so we're going to start it off.
Are you ready?
Feel free to stand up, vibe with us, but remember that part. Yeah. Check it out.
I've been grounded in sorrow for watermelons, not asking for pity words. So water pointers around my calculated. The odds are good enough in the count. When I count it up, count it down, I'm already been counted out. It don't matter. So you pressure my ballot, give a I have it, but from the data I've gathered, who my hands in the caption act like they captors, the captors act like they capture. Ain't never been down with movement. That's the movement is backwards, but I'm ready.
We ready for the violence to stop.
Get
ready, get ready, get ready for the change to come. Who's ready? We ready. We ready for a revolution.
Who's ready?
Who's ready?
All right, here we go. Y'all ready?
We ready for the violence to stop.
Who's ready?
We ready. We ready. We ready. We ready. We ready for the violence to stop.
I said who's ready?
We ready.
Who's ready?
We ready.
We ready.
We ready. We ready for the violence to stop.
Okay.
Looking at my city and I see it is a trouble. Instead of facing each other, they out here facing muzzles. People dropping left and right, I'm seeing families struggle. We gotta help each other, cause we all part of the struggle. While we hurting each other, I look and I see there's so much hurt and hopelessness that lies beneath the rubble. But if we set aside the differences, we can make change. We just gotta be humble, make our way through the rain. Cause I don't know about you, but I'm tired of seeing pain. Your gang banging is old, gun violence beyond lane. I'm trying to save a city, then we're living in vain. People out of taking lives like it's a video game. And what I'm saying is a make-believe, anything is possible. And if we work together, we can obliterate these obstacles. So put the guns down, get up, and join the movement. Cause there's strength in numbers, so let's get to it. We ready, we ready for the ball. Get ready, we're ready for the change to come. Come on, who's ready? Yeah, ready for a revolution.
Who's ready?
Who's ready?
All right, we're gonna try
We ready for the violence to stop. Let's go.
Who's ready?
We ready.
Who's ready?
We ready.
We ready for the violence to stop. I said, who's ready?
We ready.
We ready.
Come on. Ready for the violence to stop. With the revolution, the kids of the future, the change to come. Put the gun down, stop aiming at our head. Don't put us in the dirt, feeling like the time was on. Our stories stitch your shirt, but we can talk it out. We should talk it out. Listen, can't you hear our voices now? Singing we should overcome any stereotypes. The ones to perform, but to give up life. We have the power in our hands, so we the people need to vote. The biggest generation has the hardest time trying to cope with pain. Seems like every other day it rains. It's not black on black crime, got my city in the prime of its first time, I'm hard time with a piece. Instead of slang like I think complain about the streets. Don't give up on this now, just to start us up with me. Come on, get down the guy. Come on, clap them hands. It's time for a revolution. Don't know violence.
Check it out, hands up.
Down the gun. We will not be silent. Come on. It's time for a revolution. Come on. We ready. We're ready for the violence to stop. Come on. We're ready for the change to come. Come on. Who's ready? We're ready for a revolution.
Who's ready? Just the voices.
We're ready for the violence to stop.
Who's ready? Who's ready?
We ready.
We ready for the violence to stop. I said, who's ready?
We're ready.
Who's ready?
We're ready.
We ready.
We ready.
We ready for the violence to stop. Thank you guys. Thank you. Much love.
I'll go on then to another collective piece, which is Wade. I don't know, you all. This album just has so much on it. I think you all are really going to enjoy it. And especially Wade. Lately, Wade has been getting a lot of publicity. And it's just been amazing. If y'all haven't already, you can go to Bruno David Gallery and go actually watch the full video. And Wade was kind of one of those things, we were thinking about who's ready, and we're like, okay, we have an anthem, and we kind of want something a little more like a chant, so something a little more out there. And we started looking up chants on Google, and the next thing we see is Negro spirituals. And of course, when you see Negro spiritual, one of the main ones you're going to see is Wade in the Water. And we were like, maybe we could play with that, We wanted trying to see how old it was and, copyrights around it and everything. And, even with just that idea and going in there with integrity and just putting some snaps on there or something with the pad, and I was like, maybe let's take this drum and make it sound like a heartbeat, because I was thinking with Wade, a lot of times, even just Negro spirituals in general are the heartbeat of what we do now and the music that we make now, So I was just like, let's make a heartbeat, And we didn't even have lyrics to it, y'all. And we were letting everybody listen to it, like KP, even Troy, Brandon. We just had one of those days where everybody just came in and was kind of like, okay, I see what y'all trying to do here, And then we had another day where everybody came in and really just worked together, and it was so crazy. Rachel, if you want to hop in on this one too, because I remember it was I think it was Callie came up with the melody Like he was like, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that. And then they started putting line by line. It was like each person had like a different line that went with the previous line. So we want to grow. Then somebody else said, we want to change. And it was like, okay, who next? It was just like kind of like a domino effect. So yeah, Rachel, you can go ahead and talk about that, because I remember you were one of the ones too that helped with that chorus.
Yeah, definitely. Because I was thinking about the beat solely. I wasn't thinking about, how everybody else was going to put their own verses on there. I was like, I feel like, with the heartbeat, it's like very close to us. So I was thinking about like unity. So I just wanted to make sure with the hook that it was just talking about unity, us being hand in hand, That was really it.
Yeah, and then talk too a little bit about your verse, because that mug is hot. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I remember listening to the beat like all day in class and stuff like that, just in it. And I was like, I cannot think of nothing. I couldn't think of nothing. I didn't hear anybody else's verse yet. Then I just sat down. I was going through some of my notebooks, and I was like, let's just talk about how I see my city, And the first thing that came to me was how my parents sheltered me a lot as a kid. And then I was like, okay, I can write something about this. And then eventually, as I got older, I started involving myself with people who weren't, doing their best that they can. And I was like, that part came in with me. I talked about how I opened Pandora's box. It would just be talking about how once I got revealed to those things, I saw the real evil in the world. And I started talking about how I saw kids dying. I see kids' faces on shirts all day, or lose friends to gun violence or reckless driving and stuff like that. And I started thinking about like my religion. How do I react to this as a Christian? So I was thinking about like, dang, what if Adam and Eve didn't eat that fruit? Like, what if this evil wasn't released into the world? And that's how I just got my peace.
That's what's up. And then two, KP, if you could talk about the other part of the chorus too that you wrote that just really went so well with what the youth had already come up with.
But it's kind of like my man B was saying, artistic integrity. Just, I wanted to add to it. And just sitting there from the beginning of, the concept, listening to what you guys were trying to do. I just wanted to add that kind of Negro spiritual feel to it. And to also say something that was real, because in our hoods, a lot of black people don't know how to swim. So that's an inherent fear. So I kind of, used that idea and listening to that heartbeat, which was kind of like the pulse of the street to me. And, that's how I kind of came up with that hook, man. But like I said, the dope was already cooked up in there, you know what I'm saying? I just added a little spice to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Brandon, you got something to add? Because you on here too, man.
Most def. First of all, I thought that what KP added was crazy, because imagine just listening to the song and hearing, even if we scared of the water, no matter what, you keep it, well, we keep our heads above the water. You know what I'm saying? And hearing that on a loop, you know what I'm saying? It kind of plants in the back of your subconscious. You know what I'm saying? Now, okay, you scared. Stuff still got to get done though. So do it scared, or conquer that fear, then do it, whatever. But it still got to get done. You know what I'm saying? So to add something like that, I think this was just one of those cases where everybody had something to offer. Everybody had the right thing to offer, because in a lot of cases, people hop on songs that they don't necessarily need to be on. You know what I'm saying? People, some collaborations feel unnecessary sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And this was one of those things that I felt like was everything that people added needed to be there. If that makes sense, everything that people added needed to be there. And I know the first verse that I wrote for it, I didn't even keep. I felt like I should rewrite the verse, because again, it was just a heavy track. You know what I'm saying? It was a heavy track. Even after recording the first version, I was like, I can do better. Like, I know I can do better than this. You know what I'm saying? So what I wrote the second time, I liked a lot better, which is, and I done said it 1,000 times, which is in the Caged Bird that Maya Angelou speaks on. And and personalizing it, you know what I'm saying, giving it human like qualities of conscious and all of that, you know, and basically making it the Harriet Tubman of caged birds, pretty much, you know. So I thought telling a story about that would accurately match that heaviness that was on it. You know, it already has that Negro spiritual feel. Why not talk about figures and slavery and getting free? Why not talk about that? You know, when pretty much where they originated. You know what I'm saying?
But
pretty much where Negroes. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it just made sense to me.
Absolutely. And for all the other youth that aren't here but were on the song, kudos to them too, because like you said, everybody's verse just seems so necessary, and a lot of people surprised me too, coming in there with what they came with. I was like, dang. Like,
man,
this is what y'all doing, you know, like, okay.
Yep. Anna's verse was probably my favorite verse that she's ever written on anything. That was like primetime Anna to me.
Yeah, and it was so smooth. I felt like the beat went so well with her voice and just her vibe, you know. I was like, that's her sweet spot right there. So yeah, man, kudos on that track. And, you know, kudos to Integ too. He always in the background. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, what's up?
I just want I wasn't on the track and I didn't need to be on the track. That mug was fire. That's all I wanted to say. Like, it's so different from like all the other songs like on the album, and like that thing hits like no other. Like, everybody brought something to the table that needed to be said, kind of like what Brandon said. Like, I'm just glad that I got to be a listener. Like, I'm blessed to just listen. So it was really good.
For sure.
I appreciate that.
Shout out again to Troy for the videography, the drone footage. Again, if y'all want to go check that out, definitely go visit the David Bruno Gallery in Clayton. It's amazing. You get to sit in there with the little surround sound speakers and really get the full experience.
Most of.
Yeah. Anybody?
And Wade has a part 2
as
well, a reprise. That's also that's part of why. One of my favorite, you know, I love growing as an artist, and 2 songs that kind of that's almost like one story or whatnot, you know what I'm saying, a part 1 and part 2, stuff like that. Like I love stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of these pieces pushed us to grow, especially with the timelines too. It helped us to see what we were capable of, you know, and that we're capable of reaching, of, you know, getting these deadlines done and, you know, writing our best, you know, that we can in such a short time period. So, and actually doing the research for these things. So yeah, I think this project really pushed us as individuals and as a collective.
We wanna grow. Even if it's scared of the water, no matter what, we keep our heads above the water. We wanna change. Even if it's scared of the water, no matter what, we keep our heads above the water. Even if it's scared of the water, no matter what, we keep our heads above the water. We'll find a way. Even if it's scared of the water, no matter what, we keep our heads above the water, children.
She reminded me of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, eager to have a taste of that fruit that was so forbidden. Her parents sheltered her, thus St. Louis City was hidden. She became like Pandora, opened the box and lost the ribbon. Couldn't relate to her peers, so she remained quiet. She saw the kids in caskets, which then triggered the riots. Evil flowing from Zeus' gifts, you can hear my city crying. Now she's thinking, what if Adam and Eve didn't bite it? Did it 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 bite it?
We wanna grow. Even if it's scared of the water, no matter what, we keep our heads above the water. We wanna change. Even if it's scared of the water, no matter what, we keep our heads above the water. Even if it's scared of the water, no matter what, we keep our heads above the water. We'll find a way. Even if it's scared of the water, no matter what, we keep our heads above the water, children.
Small, but I'm a back.
And last but not least, we're going to talk about Mr. Bobby Norfolk's piece, talking about the Ville.
all through the history of St. Louis, you know, one of the ongoing things is, where did you go to high school? I haven't heard that anywhere else in the United States. Where'd you go to high school? And so my answer to that, in terms of, if somebody asked me that, I would say Sumner High School. Any Bulldogs in the house? Woo, woo, woo.
Deep in the system of the Milky Way, down on a planet called Earth, there is a place in North St. Louis I've lived since my birth. Italians and Catholics live in South St. Louis in a place called The Hill. I grew up north of Del Mar in the area called The Ville. It was an adventure and a thrill. People from all walks of life, going through joy, going through strife, the best of the best, having to achieve test after test. Where'd I go to high school, you might ask? Well, here, dear people, is a blast from the past. 1, 2, 1. Everywhere we go, people wanna know who we are, so we tell them, we are the bulldog, the mighty bulldog, the mighty bulldog. What you gonna do, the Boston Boogaloo? What you gonna say, whip it all the way, hey, Ungawa, Sumner's got the power.
A little bit of the history of Charles Sumner High School. Originally, it was downtown, and it was next to a city morgue. And so some of the Black elite parents of the high school students in the late 1860s, 70s, after the Civil War, they wanted to get the high school away from the city morgue downtown. So it moved in 1875 to where it is now, off of Cottage Avenue at Tandy Recreation Center area, Tandy Field. A little bit of background about Charles Sumner, white abolitionist, senator from Massachusetts. And this abolitionist, Charles Sumner, said some disparaging remarks about slavery on the U.S. Senate floor in Washington, D.C. And he was especially critical of Senator Andrew Butler from South Carolina. And so Andrew Butler's nephew, Representative Preston Brooks, he got all ticked off. So he approached Charles Sumner on the U.S. Senate floor with a bamboo cane. At first he wanted to start a duel with it. So, you know, it was gonna be like Hamilton. but people were saying, no, he's not even worthy of a duel. So Representative Preston Brooks took a bamboo cane, and Ken just stole Charles Sumner in the back of the head, started beating him, knocked him to the Senate floor, broke the cane, and kept hitting him again. And Representative Keat from South Carolina pulled a pistol on people so they wouldn't break up the fight. You could call it a fight. It was a one-way mauling. It wasn't a fight, actually, because Charles Sumner didn't throw one blow. And when Preston Brooks broke the bamboo cane, what happened was that he was fined $200, a lousy $200, and then a bunch of other white slave owners, they sent bamboo canes back to Preston Brooks with the inscription, "Hit him again." And so what happened was that from 1856 to 1861, ladies and gentlemen, South Carolina was the first state to break away from the United States, which erupted in the United States Civil War, and all hell broke loose. They thought it would take 1 year, and the South thought they could break away from the Union, these 13 states, and they could keep you Negroes in bondage. But it wasn't gonna happen, Captain, because Abraham Lincoln saw to it. And so U.S. Grant, you know, who had a crib over there in Afton, Missouri, Grant's Farm, you know, and William Tecumseh Sherman, he went down to Atlanta and burned Atlanta to the ground, broke the back of the Confederate Army. Took 5 years for the Union soldiers to defeat the Confederates. And when all the smoke cleared and the dust settled, 620,000 Americans lay dead to end that terrorism we call American slavery. So Charles Sumner High School was built on the backs of those people who fought in that Civil War, especially Charles Sumner. And now they're trying to shut it down. They tried to shut it down a few years ago because of redlining and restrictive covenants, where the banks start pulling money away from the hood. And then when people can't get money to rebuild houses and get loans, then the neighborhood implodes. And then what happened back then in the 1980s on the East and the West Coast, these two groups came in and flooded St. Louis with crack and cocaine, the Bloods and the Crips. All right, what happened in the Ville. And so when that ended, then the opioid epidemic kicked in. They always want to keep you high, so keep you doing things so you won't have time to think. And so what happened was that Sumner was going to be closed. People fought it, and then they started closing the other St. Louis schools in North St. Louis and some in South St. Louis. Now they after Sumner High School again to shut it down. But a lot of people are trying to fight it again. But there are so many luminaries that I put into this poem that graduated from Sumner High School. And when people listen to the poem, you'll hear these luminaries like Dick Gregory and Red Fox and B.B. King and Tina Turner, Margaret Bush Wilson, and all these very famous people who were propped up. A lot of people think that Arthur Ashe, the tennis star from Wimbledon, he stayed in Richmond, Virginia for a while, but he lives in St. Louis and went to Sumner High School too. So I wanted to let people know in St. Louis whose shoulders we're standing on in terms of why Sumner High School should not be closed, why it exists. Because the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the activist around 1900, said that a person with no knowledge of themselves or their culture is like a tree with no roots. And so what I needed to do was to let people know through the poetry, through the spoken word, and as a historian and storyteller, the power of the people that came out of Sumner High School. So that is the long answer to your short question, E.
That was a beautiful answer too, Mr. Bobby. I think you summed it up very well. The piece is very powerful too, because even listening to it for the first few times, I was surprised at who I didn't know came out of St. Louis and went to Sumner. I knew Sumner was historical, but I didn't know it was that historical, So just hearing these things really kind of gives you hope. And like you said, the tree without roots, it helps us to let those roots grow and let them sprout.
And Miss E, word on the street is that in that poem, somebody put some guitar licks on it. Okay, maybe you can speak on that.
Yeah,
it sure is funky.
I'm just saying.
Man, I had the pleasure of doing it. It was just kind of like, they were like, Mr. Bobby wants some music on it. And I was like, what I'm finna put on this, we gonna see. And I didn't even bring the electric guitar. I just brought the bass guitar. And I was like, cause this kind of what I'm feeling. So we go in there, and at first I'm like at a loss. I'm like, man, I do not know what to put behind Mr. Bobby. Like this it gotta make sense, So, feeling the pressure. But once I really started just feeling the words you were saying, and just really like getting your groove and feeling your groove, I was like, okay, I think I got it. And then I played something, and I was like, Chris was in there helping me record. I was like, you like that, Chris? He was like, yeah, that's tight for real. I was like, all right, we're going to go with this then. And
progressive jazz, yeah.
Man, it's like, I don't care what y'all play, but it just got to be funky. That's what y'all gonna get, man. Big shout out to you, man. You know what I'm saying? It was an honor to be able to be on a project with you. A lot of people don't pay homage to the predecessors before they're gone. And I just want to give you your flowers while you're among us, brother. I love being on a project, a body of work with you and all of you artists alike, man. And I just think it's something that whoever loves music, whoever loves the community, whoever just loves peace and unity will love this project. So comp that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you.
It definitely is a pleasure. And that's funny you say that, KP. Me and Chris, when we were actually in there putting the guitar down on the bill, Chris was saying how he was having a conversation with somebody and they were talking about storytelling. And Chris brought up Mr. Bobby, and they was like, "Man, what you know about Bobby Norfolk?" And Chris was like, "Oh, I know about Bobby Norfolk." So yeah, man, definitely is a pleasure to be on this project with everybody, and just to see how creative we are, individually, but what we can do together, I believe, is way more powerful. So I just appreciate everybody for all of their contributions and dedication. That's all.
Big shout out to Integrity and Blue, making it happen on the audio side, man.
Yo, I'm glad you said it, because I was sure just about to say it. And E can put some guitar. I can put some keys to a lot of stuff, but Integrity and Blue do a lot of the engineering in the songs that you heard. Integrity handles a lot of the mixing in the songs that you're gonna hear as well. So I know that they usually behind the scenes or whatnot, but that's who you got to thank. That's who you got to thank for that. If you enjoy what you're listening to.
Behind the scenes, but equally important, man. This is a collective. That's why we a collective.
Most def. Tag ain't scared to jump on the mic either.
No, that's right. Story stitches, boy.
No doubt.
Hey, get that. We on fire. It's lit. It's litty. Take over the city, pick up the city the wider way, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to get that album, man.
Exactly. Hey, can you let the people know where they can go to download or stream the album?
Sure. I'm deeply humbled by all the comments and feedback. The stories that y'all shared was like, man, if I was a fan, because I am a fan, but if I wasn't a part of this project, I'd be like, hey, can I get it now? Right. But it's gonna be everywhere. It's gonna be on Apple Music. It's gonna be on Spotify. Anywhere you can consume music. Tidal, YouTube Music, because there's no Google Play anymore. That went by wherever you usually download or stream and consume musical content, you will be able to have it there. So yeah.
And what would they need to put in that search bar in order to find the right stuff?
You can type in Story Stitches Artist Collective, because like KP and Brandon alluded to, we are Artist Collective. And you can also type in The Why of My City. That's going to be the name of the album.
The Why of the City, baby. And you, St. Louis, is the why we do this.
Most def.
Yep. And I was going to say, make sure, too, we have some podcasts coming out. That pertains to The Why of My City as well. So we got a lot going on with this project. So make sure that y'all staying in touch with us. If you want to know more about what we're doing, you can definitely always go to storystitchers.org, or you can find us Story Stitchers on any platform. We got TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Just search us up.
We be on church.
Stay in touch. And yeah, man, make sure y'all go get that album. Send it to your mama, your cousin, your granny, your uncle, your dad, everybody.
Me and you, your cousin, your family too.
And stream it 10 times, 20 times. Stream it for the rest of the year, rest of your life.
Most def.
8 to 80, blind, crippling, crazy is for us all, man. Go get that. Go get that.
Exactly. Anybody else got anything to say to the people before we head out?
Just real quick, Bobby Norfolk, the great Bobby Norfolk, in April will be in a Stitchcast Studio podcast. So if you already a fan of Bobby, you see how charismatic he is, the way he answered that question, or when if you already a fan of Bobby, make sure you tune in, check that podcast out. It's coming out in April, or being recorded in April. It'll come out in May.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Before we jump out of here, anybody want to touch on the different areas the podcast gonna be related to?
So the podcast for A Why of My City will be touching on different neighborhoods in the city of St. Louis. So I believe we have one about Ferguson, one about Walnut Park, one about the West Side, and I think it's one more, but I can't.
Bill, boom, boom.
Oh yeah,
Talking about the bill.
I'm like, I know it's one more, and we have some amazing guest speakers on there. Mr. Bobby on some, KP on some. We had Percy Green on one with Mr. Bobby, and a few mayors from from these neighborhoods in the city. So yeah, man, it's some great conversations, some dope topics. Yeah, just hearing from the people that actually reside in these communities.
Beautiful.
Yep. Well, cool. I guess we good. Everybody did an amazing job. I appreciate y'all.
Well done, y'all.
Absolutely. And if nobody else has anything else, then I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and enjoy this wonderful night.
Make sure
stay warm out there, y'all. Stay warm, man. Because we the hottest thing out right now because it's below zero, man. So heat your homes up with that new project, the Wild My City, storystitches.org, coming at all y'all.
Most def. All right, peace and love, y'all.
Be safe, everybody.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, y'all.
Walk you do what you wanna do. I love the life I lead. On everything is fine, but we don't know what we are until we find out why. Show why.
For your family,
Show why.
for your grind,
Show why.
for your sanity,
Show why.
for your mind,
Show why.
for your city,
Show why.
for your life,
Show why.
for your life.
Show why.
They say who that, but you already knew that. That be them story stitches, stitching words together. So clever, we paint a vivid picture. We more than Chuck Berry, sweetie pies, and red fox. More than fitted caps and cardinal birds on your red socks. Come stop and take a trip down on my block where you'll see hidden potential. Young minds sharper than pencil and ain't afraid to speak their mind if they got something against you. We standing with you. We tackle issues like civic pride. Hate will cease to exist. Let's put our differences aside. From my side to your side, from Dutchtown to South Side, from Penrose to North Side, from Benton Park to Old North to West End to West Side. We blessed when we step out. We stand down, rise up, stand together, wise up. Yeah.
Be yourself, cause the world gets only one of you. Don't talk it, walk it, do what you wanna do.
That's right.
I love the life I lead, on everything is fine, but we don't know what we are until we find out why. Show why.
For your family,
Show why.
for your grind,
Show why.
for your sanity,
Show why.
for your mind,
Show why.
for your city,
Show why.
for your life,
Show
for your life.
Show why.
Yeah. And Ted, story stitches. What's your why?
This is Stitchcast Studio, produced by St. Louis Story Stitchers in St. Louis, Missouri.
This program is a special edition of Stitchcast Studio called The Why of My City and is funded by Missouri Humanities Coronavirus Aid Relief. And economic for this grant is provided by the CARES Act and the National Endowment for the Humanities.
They say who that, but you already knew that. That be them story stitches, story stitches, story stitches, story stitches, story stitches.